What's up, guys? Welcome to Sharpen Your Sword podcast, episode number 20. I want to take this time to say thank you guys for all of our followers, all of our subscribers, for keeping up with us and liking and sharing and helping us get the word out. You make our podcast a success. So I appreciate you guys a lot. And I'm here with, like always, number one co-host in the world, Giovanni Jimenez.
Hey.
Guys, today we are going to finish up our 4-part series on launching your business. Okay, we've already had 3 episodes done, and we are on number 4. On number 4 today, guys, we are going to talk about officially launching and growing the business. Okay, officially launching and growing the business. Just recap on the first 3 episodes. Episode 1 was the big idea, the great idea. What business do you want? What's your idea that's going to generate you a business, create a business that you can generate money from? Okay. Number 2 was creating a business plan, the summary of your business, the blueprint of your business. How are you going to go about it? What's your company model? What's the logo? What's the name of it? What are you going to offer? What products you have? What's the cost? What do you think you're going to make from your company? Pretty much the blueprint map of your business. That was episode 2. And episode 3 was the legalities, okay? In this great country, you can't do anything unless you get permission from the government, okay? And so Big Papa, all right? You got to get permission from Big Papa. You can start a LLC, incorporation, S Corp, C Corp, and then you figure that out on what type of business you have. You'll decide which way to go, okay? But that's episode 3. Is the legal part, navigating the legal part of starting a business, which you do have to register your business. You do have to get permits. You have to get permission. You have to get inspections. You have to make sure you're following code and ordinances and safety in order to open a business. And now we are in the final stage, for me, probably the most nerve-wracking stage, and that's officially coming to open the doors of your business or, launching a website, whatever it is, e-commerce. But for me, it's been brick and mortar, okay? So officially opening the business and launching it. And Gio and I are going to go dive deep into this today and talk about some past experiences and give you some tips on you launching this business.
Crazy. So, like you said, we talked about all that, right? We started at the beginning, which the idea, then you wrote the blueprint, and then we went through the legalities. And now you're at the final stage, right? Which it comes to launching it. But it's like, I would say probably 90% of businesses die before the launch, Like I'm sure you've heard a lot of people they want to do a business, right? Maybe even got the legal thing and then they never launched it, So it's obviously I imagine you gotta have a lot of anxiety going through, starting it up. There's also got to be a lot of dreams behind it, right? A lot of hopes and aspirations. Because of the potential you can make, and it's your dream, and you can do something that you love, and you're your own boss, and all the cool stuff. But it's got to be kind of nerve-wracking, because now it's man, my livelihood is depending on this. There's no guaranteed check in there.
Right.
So how did you feel when you first launched a business of yours?
So officially launching the business is one of the hardest things. And it seems like it doesn't ever get easier, right? Because when you come to open the doors, right, or sign a lease, and once you sign a lease and you're in there, right?
Yeah.
You're committed. But, the process of opening a business is nerve-wracking. And as humans, we have the inner voice in the head. We have that person in our head that always, starts talking negative thoughts to you. Bro, just don't do it. You're going to make yourself look dumb.
Yeah.
You're going to embarrass yourself. You're not going to make money. You're going to lose. You're going to be upset. You're going to look like a failure. Your business is not going to work. That dude across the street is going to beat you. Your product is not good enough. You don't know enough. Who are you to open a business? All this starts rushing into your head. And it's dude, I'm trying to stay above the water, and it's I'm drowning. I feel it right. I feel it right now. You know what I mean? It's it's so once that sinks in, it's damn it, man. Yeah, you're right. This is what happens to most people. Like you said, maybe 90% never make it because of this voice inside your head. And the crazy thing is, I bet there were so many people that had so much potential to open a business, but that voice killed it. And I posted something a few months ago, and one guy said, I was listening to, I don't know, I forgot what his name was. And he said, the richest place is the graveyard. And he said the graveyard because so many ideas died that never came to fruit. They took them to the graveyard with them. They took them to the underground with them because they were too afraid of making it happen. And the amount of ideas that happened to is unaccountable, right? You can't count that. But so many ideas die because of fear, because of anxiety, stress, okay? So when you want to start a business, you know, somebody was joking with me yesterday about starting Coach Mo opening a pizza joint. And I started joking, like, bro, if you keep joking with me, I will do it. You know, for me, like, if I keep talking about something, I'll do it because it'll stress me out if I don't do it.
Yeah.
And then I made a joke like Black Belt Pizza Joint. You know, Black Belt Pizza. You know, like, man, that's a good name. You know? But it's like the idea, there it goes. There goes my idea. Black Belt Pizza Cafe. Black Belt Pizza Cafe. That's easy. I came up with the name. Black Belt Pizza Cafe. I already got the logo. Okay, maybe it's a pizza with the black belt on it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Maybe it's a pizza, a guy throwing the pizza in the air, and he's wearing a black belt. Maybe the box has a black belt trim around it.
Yeah.
You know, I already got it. I'm already seeing it in my head, right? So I got the idea. Now number 2 is I'm going to write it down on paper. I'm going to write the blueprint. Okay, let me come up with a nice logo with something dealing with the black belt, obviously. Something dealing with the pizza. Maybe a cartoon guy, you know, he got the apron on. He got the funny hat. Maybe he got a black mustache. He got a black belt on his hat, maybe, on his cap, whatever you call it, the chef cap. And then he got the pizza in there. Yeah. That's probably my logo.
Yeah.
Right? This is just me just, you know, brainstorming right now, using my imagination. And now I'm going to come up with Black Belt Pizza Cafe, Newton Town, the best pizza you'll get, you know? And I'll come up with the plan and the menu, you know? Maybe it's white belt cheese pizza. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, something funny, you know? Something catchy. Start coming up with these names. I got the logo. I got the idea. Now I have the menu. Now I have the prices. Now it's like I'm like loving this idea.
Yeah.
You know, I'm building it up in my head. I see kids in there. I see families in there eating pizza. You know, and I'm using my imagination for this. So it's coming up. So now I got that done. I'm making an estimate how many pizzas I want to sell, how many I need to sell to make my bills, to pay my bills, how many employees I need, how are we going to dress, what's uniform, you know, all this is part of the business plan. All right, so I have the idea, I have the business plan. Now, number 3, what do I need for Big Papa, the government, you know, to open a restaurant? Because, of course, when it comes to a restaurant, it's not just like a regular brick and mortar. You're selling food. Some people may be selling alcohol. There's restrictions, there's license, there's inspections, there's code, there's ordinances. Like, there's so many things that you have to follow. Now I figure all this out. And now I figure out when am I going to have a corporation? I'm going to have an LLC. Is this going to be sole proprietorship? What is it going to be? I register. I pay the $100 to make a corporation, which I can do by myself. I can register with the state, $40, $50, whatever it is. I can do by myself. You know, I have it registered with Big Papa. I'll go to the city hall. You know, I get the permit. I get all that designed. I get that paid for, $40, $50, whatever it is, $30, signed. Okay, now I'm ready. I just need a building. I have everything now. So when you said 90% businesses die, this is where they start dying. Some people have the cojones, you know what I mean, to get up to this point. Is they put some time and effort into it. But now it's like, okay, this was all a game. I spent $200 on some paperwork. I took some time. I cartooned a logo.
Yeah.
I sketched out a logo. I I wrote on my notepad, diary. I wrote on my little notepad what I'm thinking, my dream. But now it's time to get an official place and to open the doors and invite people to that place. And now it's like, oh shit.
Yeah, it got real.
like now we went from La La Land, me having a good time, imagination. Now my heart is pounding. It's legit pounding right now.
Yeah.
Because I just built this up in my head. Now I'm believing it. You know? So now I'm thinking like, oh my gosh, here we go. So this is where people start backing out. This is where the 90% you said, and it might be higher. We don't know. Back out and say, no, I can't do it. And I personally know people that've done this.
Yeah.
They've done all of this. And now it came to happen, and they're like, no, bro. And I told you a story, I think.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm not going to mention it on the podcast. But I know multiple people that got to this point, and they're like, no, I'm pulling out. Because this is where it gets scary. Because now it's official. Now I'm signing a 3-year lease, 5-year lease, 10-year lease. You know, I'm paying on renovations. I'm paying for a sign, a business sign, bro, like a decent sign. Sometimes you're paying 10, 15, 20 grand.
Dang.
For a sign. For a sign, to a lit sign, you know?
Yeah.
To put on your business. Just a sign.
Yeah.
Now you got renovations. Now you got rent. Rent, you're going to be paying for a small piece of place, $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 a month. Depends on your area.
Mm-hmm.
You know, say $5,000 a month. That's $60,000 a year you got to come up with.
Oh, wow.
$10,000 sign. That's $70,000 right there. You know what I mean? Utilities and phone. Utilities, phone. Add up with some expenses, water bill and everything. $500 to $1,000 for a restaurant. Just throwing numbers, right? You're at $82,000 for the year. You know, you want to pay barely anything, you know, for your own salary at a low level, $48,000 a year, $3,000-4,000 a month. You're already at $115,000 a year. You're already at $100,000. You need to generate profit to pay that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now you have to buy ingredients. Now you have to buy tables. Now you have to buy chairs. Now you have to buy the oven. Now you have to put a whatever you call it for restaurant, Vinahoof or whatever. I don't know what it's called. Something like that, Vinahoof or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
You know? You need a drink machine. You need a register. You need cameras. Now we're already friggin', just for the year, you're looking at $150,000.
Yeah.
Just throwing numbers. Now you need a couple employees. And you're already in 6 figures.
Yeah.
So you start adding this up, and you're like, bro, but what am I going to do? You know what I mean? So this is where people start backing out when they start doing this. What they start doing, because I do this to myself. You start talking yourself out of it, and you start talking yourself on why it's not going to work.
Mm.
And then you believe it.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's crazy. I was like, you mentioned all these things, like you're adding all this up and you're thinking about the responsibilities and how, and the biggest thing is like I mentioned, is like nothing is certain, right? Obviously in your dreams and your hopes, you hope you're going to win, you hope you're going to succeed and you're going to climb up the ladder, but nothing is guaranteed. So that's the biggest thing, you know? You're going to a room where you don't know what to expect. So, obviously, that's going to discourage a lot of people, right? But you opened up business, right? You didn't let your mind stop you. How did you feel opening up your business? Were you like, at the beginning, right? Were you like naive? You were like, yeah, it's going, I made it. I opened up the doors, right? Or were you like, did you kind of expect it would be ups and downs? How did you feel just in general when you first opened up a business?
Man, so if you watch my first episode on the podcast, right, I talked about selling clothes and shoes on the street, right? Then I went to open my first brick and mortar at 18.
Mm-hmm.
At that time, man, I was just so I don't know what the word is, man. I mean, I guess lost is the word, maybe. I was determined, but I was lost at the same time, if that makes sense. I was chasing, but it was like I can imagine, for example, imagine being outside. And sometimes in movies you see this, right? You're outside and then you look around and it's all black, right? And you're just running. You can't see no direction. Whichever way you run, it looks the same. So I feel like at 18, that's where I was. You know, as I was running and I'm going for it. But the black is it just keeps coming. It's just a black hole. I'm just like that the whole time. You know what I mean? And it was really no direction. I was running towards something, but I didn't have a true direction. And it didn't really, I didn't catch myself because I was just so focused and determined and angry and upset about so many things that I wasn't paying attention to certain patterns. And so for me, when I opened at 18, it was like, oh, I'm going to open a store, which I did. I was like, I'm going to just open it and money's rolling in.
Yeah.
You know, screw branding, screw this all advertising. Just put the stuff in there, unlock the doors, throw a sign on a building, and that's it. That was what I did at 18 years old. Do I regret it? No, because I learned so much more. I learned so much in the process. But at 18, I just thought money's going to flow in. But when opening the business, and it's happened every business after that, it's a sense of oh snap. I'm working. In every business, I've worked through the night to the opening day. There's not a business I open that I didn't not work to opening day. The academy, I slept on the mat for an hour, 2 hours, because I couldn't drive home because of how wore out I was. And I didn't live far away.
Yeah.
I slept, got up right before opening, ran home, took a shower, came back. And I'm pacing. I'm like, bro, where's everybody at? Why are people not coming? And I'm freaking out inside. I'm freaking out. Dude, I aged probably 50 years in that night. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, snap. It's real now. What's going to happen? Is it going to work? Is it not going to work? Oh, dude, you effed up. What did you do? This is a disaster. This was the biggest mistake ever.
Yeah.
This happens to me. Now, I don't know if this happens to everybody, but this happens to me in every business. Every business, I'm pacing. I'm there, 3-4 hours before opening, grand opening. And I'm pacing, thinking, and all these thoughts are just coming in my head. And people are looking at me like, bro, it's all right. And I'm like, no, I think I effed up. I didn't do this right. I didn't do that right. I could have done this. I could have done that. Maybe I shouldn't have done this. Maybe I should have waited for next month. Maybe I should have advertised more. Maybe I should have waited until next year. Maybe this is not a good location, And so that's what happens to me. It's the same thing over and over again. That it's the inner voice, man. It eats you alive if you can't get a grasp on it. And that's what kills a lot of dreams.
Crazy. So, looking back at it, right? Obviously, I get stressed just thinking about that, right? Because that's so much responsibility. Forget the rainbow is it all became black and white. Rainbows got gone. Oh, damn. It's real, So, what is some advice you would give yourself, looking back at it, right? You learned a lot. Obviously, you got to make mistakes. No one, even the biggest entrepreneurs, they don't start off with the banger, It's what is some advice you would give yourself knowing what you know now, right? Years of experience, and things going well. What advice would you give yourself starting up, an 18-year-old you, opening up his new business? Just not necessarily specifics, but what would you give him in general business advice to a new startup, someone young that wants to get into the entrepreneurship?
So the biggest advice would be, it ain't easy, homie. It's not easy. Those nice, cute Instagram reels, that's not how it is. It's a guy counting money on a private jet or driving a Lamborghini. Oh, I opened my own business at 18 years old. You see the same damn thing. I was talking to somebody today, he was saying like, man, not many people that I know at our age that truly have run the business correctly and are not faking it, that are really, getting after it. And most of these dudes are just faking it. Just this morning, somebody told me that.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, so it's not that easy. It's not sunshine and rainbows. That's the biggest thing I'll tell myself at 18. Because at 18, like I said, it's like, oh, just open a store. Yeah, I'll buy the merchandise. I'll call this company. I'll place an order. I'll bring it in. I'll hang it up on the wall. I'll decorate the store. Open the door. It's way more than that.
Yeah.
That's my first thing I would say is it's not that easy. After that, it's like study it correctly. Study, research, study, research, study, research. You have to know what you are. You have to be a black belt in your field. And if you're not a black belt, you need to try to be a black belt in your field. You have to know more about your product than your competitors. You have to know more about it than the people in your market. Or you have to offer a better product than what they offer.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't necessarily can do that, you have to make it appear like you can. And some people, well, that's false advertising. Sometimes you got to false advertise.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's part of business. How many times have Walmart false advertised a product?
Yeah.
The whole advertisement that they have is false advertisement. And now you can't get outrageous with this. You get in trouble for it, right? But that's the other thing is research, study, and then study and research again. And then after that, it's before all that really is build yourself up. Self-development. You need to be prepared. You need to be healthy physically and mentally. Your swords need to be sharp physically and mentally to run a business, because it's not for running a business. It's not for an average Joe, because if you're average, if you're not sharp, the business is gonna chew you up and spit you out. Some of the hardest guys that I know, hardest people I know, are entrepreneurs. Mm-hmm. They are durable. You know what I mean? They are gritty, and that's from running a business. So you have to be ready for that, because you're gonna be exhausted physically, working, no sleep. You know what I mean? Physically working on the business. Moving things, creating things, designing things, decorating, painting, all that, or working the business itself, walking in it, selling things, building things, whatever the business is. And then spiritually and like mentally, you're gonna be exhausted.
Yeah.
Because that doesn't stop. I was up since 3:30 this morning. I couldn't go back to sleep. Mm-hmm. My mind just started talking to me. And I could not go back to sleep. I could not do nothing to stop it. So what do I do then? I could literally eat me up if I'm not prepared for it. If I am not developed, if my sword is not mentally sharp, it's gonna eat me up. Mm-hmm. So self-development, going into a business, you need to be sharp. You need to take care of yourself. And I think another big tip would be understanding the market, understanding marketing. Marketing and sales. If you have these two things, you can be okay in life. If you can pitch your product, and when you pitch the product and they come, you can make the sale, then you can be okay in life. I don't know if you remember what I told you about sales when you first started.
It's that I think it's that once you become really good at selling, like wallets start opening up, and then other things start opening up.
Yeah. When I said what I told you, and this is me being frank in front of everybody. I said when you get so good in sales, you don't need me. Remember when I told you that?
Yeah.
You don't need nobody when you become good at sales. If you can sell, you'll be all right in life, right? I'll sell ice to an Eskimo. You know what I mean? I got that from one of my sales reps. But, so That's another tip. It's so many tips now looking back at it that you can talk about, branding, personal brand, right? Depends on the business that you're going into. And if you're in your local community, you have to have a brand as a person, as a human being. Like, who is Giovanni? You know what I mean? That's a brand of who you are. Your brand's going to attract people. People know that Giovanni is a kids coach, and he tries to create the family environment. So if I want to go to an academy, I'm going to go to this guy because that's what he believes in. His brand is about this. His brand is about creating strong kids, strong men, being a strong man, right? Having faith, right? This is his brand, being a good person. So his business is going to hone that, is going to create that. So you have in a local business, local setting, right? You have to be a brand. This is like next level branding, right? And then your company is a brand. This is at a local level. So if you can open a pizza cafe or, a fitness studio or, anything, a cafe, coffee shop, people are going to come. So a lot of people come because they know you, friends, family, and stuff like that. You're a brand. And then because of them, your brand's going to get more strong, powerful. And you're going to get people referrals because of your brand. And then your new business brand is going to get stronger. You have a good logo, you have a good design, you have good marketing. Now you're building the brand of your business. So now you already had a few stepping stones because your own brand kind of built you up a little bit. Now on top of that, you start building your business brand. Now you have kind of like a turbine, like a strong machine, both of you, two brands.
Yeah, that's crazy. So I want to talk about you mentioned that one time you said this very powerful quote. We were talking, and it is in reference as to you mentioned you have to become very skilled, very knowledgeable in your field. Remember you said, and I was telling you stories about some guy, and you said that when you become a wizard in what you know, that's when the money starts coming in. But like you said, you become a wizard, right? And you don't become better than a beginner or just a vet. Like you become a wizard, then the money starts coming in. So I think that was a very powerful quote that you shared with me. And it really puts things into perspective. It was you really have to become a master, at it. So another thing you mentioned is marketing. It's how should people tailor their marketing? Looking back at it, it's because obviously it's going to depend on what it is, right? Some people, should they advertise, I got the best? Should what different type of marketing? There's marketing where you could be I got the best sale, that I can give you the cheapest product for the best quality, or I can give you the best quality, or I can give you the best service, and so on. Starting off because there's so many routes you could take with marketing. It's what is some general good marketing tips, looking back from your startup days?
So back then, man, marketing was radio stations, paper flyers. And this all still works till today. Don't let nobody say it's old school. It still works.
Really?
Yeah, all this still, now obviously social media is a different level right now. It's Facebook, Instagram, Google. Obviously, we're in a different time. But there was a time I used to wake up every morning, at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, and I would pass out flyers for 4 or 5 hours, 6 hours a day sometimes. Sometimes the whole day, 12 hours. Paper flyers. You know what I mean? So it just depends, right? People still put postcards, like a 5x7 cards in different places.
Yeah. People
still grab them. People don't do this for no reason, right? So when it comes to marketing, we're going to revisit episode 2 of this 4-part series, your business plan. Okay? And this is something I did not know. Back then, I was I'm just going to get everybody, which it doesn't work that way. Not everybody cares for your product, right? And you have to know your avatar. Your avatar is your ideal client. The ideal client might be a 35-year-old Karen with 3 kids living in the suburbs, 2.7 cars at their residence. 3.7 TVs at their residence. You see these stats, right?
Complaining about the local McDonald's.
Complaining about the local McDonald's and always complaining to the HOA about something, right? That might be your local avatar. That might be your avatar. So what am I going to do in my marketing to catch the eye of this woman? To let her know that we have a iced caramel latte, right?
Yeah.
Or to let her know that we have pizza in the summertime after baseball games, and there's a 10% off for local residents, or 10% off for this baseball team. Knowing that I know her kids play on this baseball team. You know what I mean? So there's marketing can get very sophisticated. It's a game.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So that's a high level marketing. Right now you have marketing where you put a general ad out, like Black Belt Pizza Cafe, and it's a guy throwing a pizza out and saying, hey, we are the best in making pizza. We have black belt level. We are a master at creating best pizzas in town. We're not white belt level like the other cafes. You know what I mean? And that video, you just put it out as like an awareness video. So it just people catches their eye as they're scrolling Facebook or Instagram or YouTube, and it's just letting them know, hey, we're here. And then you have a targeted ad, targeted marketing, which is like, okay, my cafe is in the suburbs. There's a high school nearby. High school kids get out after school games, whatever it is. My target is for them. So my market targeting is going to be designated to that specific person. And I can add like, hey, for example, like Texas High School. We just say Texas, a state, right? Texas High School, 10% off. Texas High School football players, 10% off. That can be a Friday. Texas High School students, 10% off on Fridays. That's a marketing ad right there to get the students to come have lunch or dinner, be a hangout place, and I'll get 40, 50 students that night to eat pizza.
Yeah.
But marketing depends on who your avatar is. So you need to know who you want. You can't have everybody. You cannot have everybody. Being a wizard in your business, you need to understand that. It's just you can't have everybody. Right? The white belt, right? The wizard, let's say, is the black belt. The white belt thinks he can have everybody. You cannot have everybody.
That's very true. Going back to the episode 2, you did go deep into that. You said you have to have that person that you're targeting, right? And so then you allocate to whatever that person needs and what their interest would be. So another thing is, which it is true, is when you first said it to me, I didn't understand it, right? And I didn't understand the power of it. As you said, when you know how to sell, like you mentioned, you don't need anybody. It was like, you are good, right? And I'm like, what? Like selling? I'm like, I was like, really? Like, is it that powerful? I didn't understand it because I didn't know it, right? And then we talked about it, and I was like, selling, okay. But now that I've been doing sales for a while, and I see the power, and I see the black belt level salesman, and I see like how they talk to people and how it's like they're selling, but it doesn't even look like selling. They're just having a conversation. It's so powerful. Like you said, anywhere you go in the world, right? If you can sell, you're gonna be able to make money, right? Let's say maybe you have some accounting skills, right? But you're in France and you don't speak no French, it's gonna be hard, right? But I guess I guess if you don't know French, you're not gonna be able to sell in French. But what I'm saying is that's very translatable, knowing how to sell, interact with people. That's not true, because there's even people that I've encountered, right, from other countries, they barely know how to sell, when they barely know how to speak the language, but they're with their limited language, they're able to convince you. They're person, hey, my friend, whoever, right? Oh, yeah. Boom. So pretty much how important is to sell your product, and even more important, how to sell yourself, there's a big business advice, sales advice. They're like, people buy from who they like, right? And nowadays they're trying to say that it's old school, and a lot of times people do buy from who they like. Yeah. They like you and they'll buy from you. I remember like car salesman, like dude's cool, he's chill, he's cracking jokes and everything, and your guard goes down. Yeah. And the next thing you know, they stuff you with $100,000. Yeah. But they're smiling at you the whole time. So it's like, how important is, like, you went into it like selling yourself, you know, and your product. Like, how much should you focus on that aspect of selling?
So marketing and sales, they go hand in hand. Okay? So this is what I like to say. I like to say this. Good marketing, they come to buy your product from you. Mm-hmm. They see your marketing, they come to buy the product from you. Great marketing is they bought the product and they're coming to see you. So they already, when you have great marketing and they see the product, they are convinced right away. Now, some things come in play, right? Timing, money, stuff like that. But good marketing is like, oh, that looks pretty cool. Let me go see that guy. Right? Maybe I buy it. Maybe I don't buy it. They come, they talk to you. Maybe if they love the price, they buy it. Right? They liked it. They're coming to see it. Great marketing is like, damn, I'm buying that.
Yeah.
They haven't seen it yet. But from what they saw on your marketing, like, okay, I'm convinced, I want that, I'm going to buy it. Now, when they come buy it from you, that's when it comes hand in hand. Now it's time to close the deal. Right? They already did most of the work. So many people lose this, right? They think, well, they're here, they're already convinced they're going to buy. No. The marketing did most of it. Now you got to finish it. Right? Great marketing, they come to you, you finish the sale. Good marketing, they come to you, you got to sell, then you finish the sale. Make sense? Mm-hmm. And so when your personal brand is powerful, your personal marketing, right? You're in a local town. Let's talk about a local town. Because if you're talking about national or big business, it's hard. Because sometimes in a big business, I don't know who the owner is. Right? I know a company right now. I've known the company for years. You know, I finally met the owner. I would have never met the owner if it wasn't for X, Y, Z reasons. The company's just too big. I probably would have met a manager, an assistant manager. So his brand doesn't have nothing to do with it. And the guy actually doesn't have a brand. The company's just so big. Okay? So at a local level, cafe, pizza, fitness, gym, you know, not a corporate. It's like your brand will help sell your product. Because, like you said, some people come to buy from you. You know what I mean? Like there's a local firearm store, right? And I like going to these guys. They are cool guys. You know what I mean? So I like to see them. I like to go talk to them. I like to purchase from them. Mm-hmm. Right? Instead of going to Academy or some big Cabela's or Bass Pros or something like that. Gun store's not that big. It's probably 4 times this room. Mm-hmm. That's it. This room is very small, right? Compared to an Academy that has whatever you want, or a Cabela's or Bass Pros has whatever you want.
Yeah.
But I like the owner. You know, me and him believe in a lot of the same things. So I'm going to see this guy. For him, for me, that his brand, I like it. Now I like his product too. So now I like him, I like his product, I like his brand, I like both brands, his brand and his business brand. Now I'm a customer.
Yeah. So you're saying being personable. How do you go about being personable? Because there's people that kind of, they don't like people, or they're like, I want to do my own thing. Like, I just want to focus on the business and do. Like, what are some tips you give people on being more personable? Because it really does affect how people view you, and people like you, they'll go with you.
Well, man, like it comes down to many things. Like I observe a lot. I observe way too much. Okay, so I observe everything. The way we were sitting in a pizza place the other day, and she said something, and you told me you caught on to the way I replied. Right? Like I listen to what you say. You know what I mean? I listen to everything. And so some people are like that, especially high dollar paying clients. When the bigger the dollar, then a lot of people pay attention because they want good service. They want to do business with somebody that's personable. I'm not going to go spend, we're not talking about $5 cup of coffee. Mm-hmm. Even though a personable, like you go to coffee shops and this is $5 cup of coffee. If I go to a cup of, like a Dunkin', I can just overlook Dunkin' because I don't have there's no personability between us and the barista. Yeah. But I go to, the local coffee shop that we go to. And they go in like, hey, guys, good to see you again. Yeah. Give you a big smile. Oh, you're ordering the cafe and cocoa, right? And you're getting, green matcha latte, whatever you call it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, they know our drink. And I'm like, bro, I'll come back here. And I've been there two times in a row so far this week.
Yeah.
I went yesterday with you, and I went this morning with somebody else. And so I'll do that with that local coffee shop. I wouldn't do it with the Dunkin', right? Because that person is personable. They smile at me. They talk to me. They're glad that I'm there. Even if they're faking it. That's being personable, right? So I think the problem is that we have also is when you run a business, you have to compartmentalize, right? Whatever problems that you have, you got to throw them in a box, lock it up, and leave it at home. Or leave it in the car. Because if I bring it into work with me now, I'm not going to be as personable because I can't talk to you correctly. I can't put my problems aside, or I can't put my feelings aside. I can't put my ego aside. Some guys speak with an ego, right? Sometimes if I speak with an ego with you, you're going to feel kind of like, oh, so you mean like, this dude is a jerk. And you said this about me coming into my business, actually. When you first came.
Yeah.
And that hurt me, right? Like, I'm like, dang, that's me. You know what I mean? But that's an example. So we have to be aware of how we talk, how we carry ourselves. We have to be, I always believe that we should be humble. Carry ourselves in a humble manner. You can be loaded with money. You still got to be humble because sometimes people loaded with money, it leaves a bad taste in somebody's mouth. Mm-hmm. Like, if you're around me and you're just flaunting money, I'm like, all right, bro, whatever. I don't want to be around you. You're a cocky piece of crap, right? So being personable is you got to be on the same level. Be a good human being. Be humble. Yeah. Have some humility. That's what the word I'm looking for. Have humility, right? And so being personable can take you a long way in keeping customers. Because I can go into somewhere. I'm trying to think of an experience. I couldn't think of one. Can you think of one where you're like, I don't know about that. Going back there.
So at Brewers, I went to this some Mexicans really love sweets, right? But it's like there's these like ice cream shops, right? And that they do so many stuff, right? They go from popsicles to ice cream to like street corn and chips and whatever. So it's very popular, right? And a lot of Mexican families, they go on the weekends and go to these stores, right? And so there's a big market there. And so I remember I went to this new place, right? It had a lot of candy, it had a lot of good candy, had a lot of spicy candy, and all of it looked delicious. And they had kind of their own little thing going on, right? It was their own unique spin on things. And so it wasn't very clear on the menu, like, how do you go about it? So I asked them, like, hey, I started asking him a couple questions about it, right? And then the dude was like, he was kind of like, he had like attitude. He was like, you got to be shitting me. Kind of like, how do you not know? Like, bro, this is obvious. Or like, they didn't want to explain it, right? And I'm like, bro, like, I ordered. Like, I was going to order something. But then like, hey, just give me like a small, I just grabbed the small product at the end. And then I went there with my family, and we never went back because this dude was an asshole, right? Like, bro, I'm not gonna come here and give you my money and support you, and you give me this trash service. Like, I don't like you. I'm not gonna buy from you. And then he lost. My family goes every week. They that could have been recurring weekly customers, then he lost that.
Yeah.
He wasn't on his A game that day. Maybe his girlfriend went off on him because he liked some girl in a bikini on Instagram. That's not my fault, you know. You got to be on your A game. But so he lost a customer, you know. And so
I agree. I actually came up with, I just found remembered one story. So we're talking about firearm stores. And so when I first turned 21, I went to see this store that there's two stores across the street from each other. One has a bad rep because they have a big ego. They're very standoffish. And so I went there, standoffish, walked clean out. They had what I wanted, but I did not want to buy from them. I went across the street. Okay? And I went across the street, made a conversation with the guy. You know, I made a purchase, whatever it is. Love that place. Okay? But I liked it, right? Fast forward, went in a few years later, and they always ask for an ID. They have it on the door. When you enter, they bring ID. I forgot my ID, okay, in the car. And this is me now. This is probably people are like, right, that's Moses Karen right now. But I like I said, I observe the way you talk to me. And if I feel like you disrespect me, I don't want to do nothing with you. I'm not going to put myself in a position where you disrespect me, right? And so I took it as disrespect the way he kind of came at me. But he opened doors like, where's your ID? Right? And I said, I don't have it with me. It's in the car. You know? And like I told you, me and him, this guy spoke. And I mean, I'm sure he don't remember my face. And then just the demeanor was like, bro, get the hell out was pretty much the way he talked to me. Like, bro, you can't, he's like, yo, you can't come in here unless you have that, so you need to go get it or come back. But it wasn't like that. It wasn't like, it was like this, with his nose up. Mm-hmm. It wasn't like, hey, sir, in order for you to come in here, you need to have a driver license, you know, for X, Y, and Z reasons. If you don't mind, can you go grab it for me to check in? And you're more than welcome to come in.
yeah.
I never stepped foot in that store again. Ever.
Dang.
I probably won't ever go back there. You know what I mean? So I try to be aware of these things in my own business. Now, some people you just can't please. Some people don't matter what you do.
Yeah.
It ain't happening. That's part of being a business owner also. It's like you may think you're doing the best. You probably are doing the best you can, but some people just read things differently. They hear things differently. They vibe differently. So it's just not going to work. So you have to be aware of that. But you need to try your best to be as humble as possible and have some humility and be as welcoming. Right? I used to never smile.
Yeah.
Right? I don't smile a lot. Now I do. You know, I got a beard. You know, if I don't get a haircut fast enough, and my hair is wild, my beard is wild, I don't look not like a nice guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I have to smile.
Yeah. Makes a lot of sense. Being personal, like I remember going to business where they are very nice, they're polite, you know, and then I'm not gonna lie, sometimes they don't even have what I want, right? But the person is so cool, so chill. Like you meet like an old lady, she's so cool. Like I'm gonna just get something, whatever, just to support the lady, the business, just because she's cool and she treated me very nice.
Yep.
You know, and if she has a business that I know someone wants, I'll obviously recommend her instead of recommending a big retail. So, but this feeds into the personal brand that you mentioned, right? Because like a big example, like people know you, and so they'll trust you if they know who you are, right? You already got kind of like halfway sell. Like one big thing was like Jocko Fuel, right? If Jocko didn't have his podcast and he wasn't famous, that Jocko Fuel would not be booming, you know? People, I never tried Jocko Fuel, so I can't speak on it, right? Whether it's good or not. But it's like, I know a lot of people are getting Jocko Fuel because they like Jocko.
Yeah.
And they like the podcast and they like what he talks about. Yeah. And they like the dude. So they're going to support him. Or it's like, for kids, Logan Paul, he's promoting Prime. Now all the kids want Prime, right? Why they want Prime? To taste that good? Nope. It really don't. I've tried it, don't, right? But he talking about it. He's a celebrity to the kids.
I watched you drink a few, so you don't like the taste, but you must like Logan Paul.
They got, I don't know, man. When sometimes Prime tastes better than just water. But like the kids, he's a celebrity, and so they get it. But really, they're buying what they're set. He sold himself. The kids like him, so now they're inclined to just buy whatever he's selling.
Yep.
You know, and with that, they say, and with that, that does come big responsibility because if you know people are gonna buy your stuff, so you're not just gonna recommend goofy products.
Right.
Because I remember but keeping this one story myself. Like I was out of town, and we were walking on the street, and then I was like, man, this is hot. Like I didn't have a cap, so we walked to the store to buy a cap, and all they had was like marijuana bucket hats. I looked at it, and one of my family was like, get it, bro. Like you cover the sun. And I was thinking, and I was like, bro, like I'm a kids coach, like Coach Gio. Like I'm gonna look ridiculous if I got that on me. Like what if a parent looks at me and they be like, that's the coach of my kid? Like that's who I'm trusting my kid to go take classes with? Like he's just gonna nonchalantly wear like marijuana on his head?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, like is he just gonna openly like
That's a scratch on your personal brand.
promote that, right? So I'm gonna look horrible.
Yeah.
If parents look at me like, bro, you might be chill, whatever. You want to be a good coach. Maybe you don't even do it, but you got that on you, man. That leaves a bad taste in people's mouth.
Yep.
You know, that's an example of myself. There was like people do look at who you are and they perceive you, and that alone, even a small thing, like you might do something, you might do 1,000 things right, do it once wrong,
That's it.
it's a done deal. So how important is like that personal brand? Like you go into a little bit like your own personal brand and the way you carry yourself and the way you are perceived, you know?
So the personal brand is very important. I mean, we talked about it a little bit, but people are gonna look who. Now we're talking about like local shops, local businesses. People are gonna look who runs a business. You know what I mean? Like with our case at the academy, people have told me, I've looked you up before I came to your academy. Mm-hmm. Straight up have told me, hey, I've stalked your pages. I've stalked your Facebook. I've stalked your Instagram to see who you are as a coach and how you carry yourself. And that's why I don't get political, right? Because that also hurts, I guess, people butt hurt, right? So I know that can hurt my personal brand. I'm not going to wear a hat like that, even though I'm just wearing it because of the heat. But somehow you run into a parent, you know, out, and no matter if you're in Cali, you can run into people. I've ran into people in that I know in Chicago, in Florida, in Vegas. Ran into people I know, right? Somebody snaps a picture of you and like, look at this dude. Somehow the pictures, then there's a scratch on your personal brand, right? One guy told me like he stalked me for the timeline based on my rank in jiu-jitsu, you know? He stalked me for like 4 years before he came into my business.
Really?
Yeah, one guy stalked me 6 years before he came out into my business. This is 2 long-term people that have seen me and followed me before they came into my business. And they told me, I stalked your pages to see who you are as a person before I came to do business with you. So if I was down there just BSing, what is that going to say about me? You know, this is like at a local level, like I said, right? So people and your personal brand mean a lot, right? And it depends on the clients that you want, right? If you don't care for the clients, then you do whatever you want. You're going to attract the same person that, for the most part, of who you are. You know, you want good people, you need to have a good personal brand. You know?
Mm-hmm.
So the personal brand is very important. Like I said, it can catapult you a little bit, give you a few steps higher by having a personal brand, because people know you and then they want to come shop with you instead of, hey, I got this new brand. They don't know who you are, and then you just open up a company that nobody knows about. Now you're taking time building a brand on that company. But if you have a personal brand first, right? Like I was fighting, and this guy met me, didn't talk to me, but met me when I was a fighter back in 2017. You know, and this guy did not walk into my business until 2022.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So he knew me in 2017. So my branding, me as a personal branding, was me fighting, and now he's training under me. You know, like, okay, I saw that dude fight. He carries himself respectfully. I want to learn from that guy.
Mm-hmm.
There's a 50 other people in the city that can do that. Teach what I teach, right? They're gonna attract people that I don't are not attracted to me. I'm gonna attract people that are not attracted to them, right? Based on the personal brand. And the personal brand, usually when you open a business, the personal brand and the business brand, they kind of reflect each other, right? It's not like I'm gonna be a personal brand and like, for example, like I'm gonna have a wild business brand, right? It's gonna be reflected off of my personality.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if it's a family environment, I'm a family guy, right? My business is gonna be family oriented. That's who I want, right? I'm not gonna be trying to get. My brand is not gonna be party guy, single guy, and I'm gonna attract families.
Yeah.
It's not gonna work.
Doesn't makes a lot of sense. Like I remember, it was this guy I used to like this to his podcast, and then one time he said something way off the rails. I was like, bro, this is ridiculous. You know, it was PBD. He said something ridiculous. I forgot what it was.
You know, for some reason, I knew you were talking about him.
I used to really like this guy, right?
Me too.
And then he said something outrageous. I'm like, bro, this is ridiculous, bro. Like, I can't look at you the same no more.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna. You watch your stuff. I'm not gonna buy his products. You know, like for him, he's speaking his mind, right? But then, boom, that's a scratch on his brand.
Yep.
Right? I'm sure he don't care.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna support. You know, I'm not gonna support any of his brand just because, as a person, like I don't support that guy. You know, and even people like local that are known, like I find out who they are, right? And then people like some religious people can be like, oh, don't judge nobody. Only God can judge people. I'm like, okay, bro, but okay, the dude's the crazy immoral. Like I'm not gonna support that guy. I don't like the guy.
Yeah.
You know, he doesn't stand for what I believe. So,
Yep.
you know, but so obviously personal brand is very big because, like we mentioned, people buy from who they like a lot of times, and you say yourself, people like you, they'll buy the product. So into more kind of like technical side of business, talking about like building like a strong team. How do you go about building a strong team, and how much does your team reflect you as a business owner?
That's a good question, man. And that's a hard one. I was actually talking to somebody. It's funny, like I'm talking to somebody about something that we're talking about. But that's what it is, I guess, entrepreneurs getting together. It's the same problems, always, same thing. Marketing, sales, employees, team, growth, scaling. You know, it's always entrepreneurs talk about the same. But your team needs to reflect you, right? Okay, I'm a family guy that's family oriented. I'm not gonna have somebody on my team that's gonna be a party. Now, this is me. It's 2024. Okay, but at the same time, don't come at me no BS. All right, but I'm gonna say it. If this is something that you do, so be it. Go hit the wall with your head. Okay, but if you party and all that, I have nothing against it. But I'm not gonna hire somebody that's a partier, that's always drinking, that's always smoking. I'm a family-oriented guy. My business is family-oriented. So who I'm going to hire is going to be family-oriented. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I'm not going to hire a party animal. All right? So they're going to reflect me. Because the way my team carries himself, it reflects who leads the team. Right? Like at the academy, I'm very selective. Very selective at the academy. Right? Extremely selective. Plenty of good people. But I don't let anybody come in and be part of the team.
Yeah.
Because that's going to reflect reflect my personal brand, because I hired them, I brought them onto the team, I allowed them inside the circle. Okay? Now it's going to reflect the company's brand. They mess up, they scratch me, they scratch the company. They leave an X on my brand, they leave an X on the company brand. So you and your team need to be on the same page. You have to share mostly, not all, the same values for you to get along. Right? Now, it depends on the business also. Right? If you're just a sales guy, all you're doing is just selling, and you're keeping your life private, and you can be a party animal, and you're doing this, but you're going business to business trying to sell a product. So you're wearing a suit or whatever it is, and you're just going there selling and getting out. So be it. You're just pitching a product, pitching the sale, and moving on. Right? But if you're gonna have an environment where people come in to see you on a regular basis, based off of your brand, like my academy or like a coffee shop or a local retailer in the town, then you and your team have to be sharing the same values. Because like I said, they can leave a mark on you. And it's very important to have a team that's like that, because you and them can get along instead of you and them always butting heads.
Yeah.
Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Why are you posting pictures and you're thirst trapping online? Like, we work with kids, bro.
Yeah.
You know, or you posting pictures and you just have alcohol in your hand all the time.
Yeah.
You know, and like I said, there's nothing wrong with if you do that, you do that. Don't come at me and say, well, what's wrong with that, Mo? You know what I mean? That's your business. But I'm saying, for me, that's in my business, that's my business. That's not part of my values. Right? If you do that in your personal life, private life, so be it. So I'm not gonna have a guy like that in my business that's family oriented.
Yeah. Doesn't mix.
Doesn't mix. So it's very important to be selective on who runs it, who works inside of your business.
Very interesting. And also, like, one thing that I've noticed about you, and which is awesome, is you don't just hire somebody and then, like, let them be, you know? Whether they perform or they don't perform, right? It's kind of like, you're not like, okay, I got like a player, they fill in the slot, and are they good? Like, are they scoring? Good. Are they not scoring? Okay, ditch them, right? It's like you build people up, you know, and you get to know them first. You find out like what motivates them, and then you gotta really get know what triggers that person, and what to get them to be the best potential, and who they want to be, and how they can use the opportunity you're giving them to take them there, right? Which it's really next level. It's pretty cool. How important is it to build people? You know, because obviously, like every diamond is rough, and then it gets polished, and then it's beautiful, right? How important is that? And when to recognize that people have potential and they just need to get polished, and when is times that maybe this person they don't want to help themselves. So there's so much I can only do for them.
So what you said at the end, it kind of hit the target, really. So it's very important. We'll start with this. It's very important to build people, okay? Because some people have skills that's going to complement yours. Some people have skills that you need. You have to be humble enough to realize that you need that. You know what I'm saying? That you can't do it yourself. So, like, I'm a one-man army is what I used to say. And I used to say to everybody.
Yeah.
And if you doubt me, trust me, I'm going to let you know that I can do it, right? This is ever since I was a little kid. I would do this with everybody. I believe I can run the world by myself, right? And to a certain extent, I honestly, God, believe I'll do it. I do it. Whatever it is that you want me to, I do it by myself. Mm-hmm. I'm going to die trying if it doesn't work, but I'm going to go for it. I'm not going to talk myself out of it, right? But that works to a certain extent, to a certain level. Okay, now when you build a team, you can do it at a bigger level and at a faster pace, at a faster rate. That's what I started to understand. And so, okay, I have these skills. I have the skills of, you know, building people up, motivating people. I have the skills of, you know, coaching people. I have the skills of convincing people, getting people to be on my team, right? People being personable, people wanting to be with me, right? People want to follow me, people want to be on my team, they want to work with me. I have these skills, right? And so I need to know that everybody has their own problems, and we all need to be motivated. We all need to be built up. Some people have a lot of skills, but they don't know it. Some people have a lot of skills, but it's covered up by a lot of BS, right? Problems in life, whatever it is. So you build this person up, you teach them, you coach them, and they go from, like you said, like a rough diamond to this nice, shiny, sparkling, beautiful cut diamond. And now they're high performers. Now they're performing in the company. Now they're increasing revenue. Now they're a team player. They're building the team. They keep the team strong. And so your job as a leader, your primary job is to build your team up. Okay? Now, at the same time, part of that is, control, alt, delete. Control what you can. Alternate them, right? Building them up, giving them tips, coaching them. That's where you're alternating things. If after that doesn't help, that doesn't work, you try building this person up, they keep going back to the same thing, they're not performing, then you got to delete, take them out. This is just the reality of business, okay? But some people, you have to be, as a leader, you have to realize this as a leader, is what I do is I look at a person and I'm like, okay, where can they fit? Where will they shine? And sometimes you have to put them somewhere where they'll shine before where you put them where you want them to be. So you put them where they can shine. And you build them up, build them up, build them up, build them up. Then you put them where you want them to be. Because then now, while you're building them up, you give them the skills needed for that other position. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So building people up is a big deal. That's a very important thing. And as a leader, you have to have the tools and capability of doing that. And you have to also have the tools and capability of realizing when it doesn't work no more. When I'm investing in you, and it's not working, get the hell out. That's how I turn. If I invest in you and I care about you and I'm trying and you do pretty much give me the shoulder or you keep going back to square one, I go almost complete 360. Because I just spent quality time. I am truly trying to investing in you. I truly try to build you up. That's at the end of the day, it's business. It's going to benefit you. It's going to benefit me. People always try to make it like the entrepreneur is the evil guy in the movie, right? Like, oh, well, you're only building me up so you can make more money. No, duh, right? But you're going to make more money. That's why you're in this company. I don't have you here to stand at the front door and just look at it, right? Yeah. That's what people do in most businesses these days. I can't deal with that. Okay? So it's like if I put all this and all this and all this and all this and it's not working, get out, bro. Get away from me. That's how it turned, right? But you have to realize when to do that, And some people, you're going to have to suck that up. Some people come in and they have a lot of potential, right? They can sell and they're good. They can talk and you're like, bro, that's somebody good. But they're always coming and going back onto the hamster wheel. They start doing good. They hit a peak, and they come right back down. Boom, crash. And then you build them up, same thing, boom. And then you give them the talk, the real life talk, bro, are you going to keep doing this for the rest of your life, or what are you going to do? You have to come to a point of realization, hey, what are you doing? You realize that you're doing the same thing. You're building up, then you're burning and crashing. Mm-hmm. What are you doing? And you still try to build them up. Now, at a certain point, that keeps happening. Okay, that person, sad to say, well, can he change? Yeah, absolutely he can change. But I can't take the time, the resources, the money to do that in my company at this point in time. Mm-hmm. So I got to let you go.
Yeah. That's the reality. And sometimes I notice some people, they'll get really attached to some of these people, right? And they just like them as a person, you're genuine. And so they can't fire them, even though that's killing the business. I remember watching Kitchen Nightmares, and this lady, she knew this dude was doing drugs on the job. He was doing meth on the job. He was a chef. He was the chef. This lady knew. She was acting like she didn't know. And Gordon was he asked him straight up, "Were you high the other day?" Because he freaked out. He flipped down, threw pans at the wall, whatever, right? He was like, "Were you high the other day?" He was like, "Yeah." They were all having a meeting. And then he looked at her. He was like, "What are you going to do? Are you going to choose him or are you going to choose your business?" And the lady got pressured. She knew it was the right decision. She fired him on the spot, right? and started busting out crying. Right? But at the end of the day, it's like he effing up the business. You know, like you said, you got to be cold. You know, because if not, the business would have eventually failed, and her dreams would have died. Now she's gonna go get a 9 to 5 or whatever.
Yep.
And then he's still gonna be the same drug addict, right? Obviously, people can help, but we're not gonna get to all that. But it's like she had to be cold. She had to put herself first, and she had to let that person go. You know, so building people up with their potential, and then realizing if they're good or they're not. But when it comes to the team, how involved, like, should you be in the team? Like, should you be, like, at what stages in the business? Like, obviously, at the beginning, you're going to be very hands-on. You're going to be working a lot, right? Because it needs you. You can't just chill in the back. At one point, like, what other point, like, do you take off? Like, you let them do it by their own, right? Because so what if you're not there? Then it's not going to be able to run without you, right? And then also, like, micromanaging. It was like, that's a big deal. Like, a lot of workers complain that their managers or the owners, like, micromanage. And then it leads good people to leave because, like, bro, this is unbearable. Like, I can't. The micromanaging, obviously, you get annoyed. You're like, bro, like, I know what I'm doing, and, like, leave me alone. You know, so how do you, like, balance all that out? Being hands-on and when knowing when to step off.
So, like, starting a business, especially if you're talking about your first business or you're still small, you know, you haven't scaled to a large size, multiple locations and stuff like that. For the most part, you're going to be very hands-on. You're going to be in the company, right? You're going to be in the company until you build somebody up very good that can take your spot. That's what's going to happen. You know what I mean? Or you build yourself up to a point where you're big, you have multiple locations where you won't be as seen, 40 hours a week in your location. You may go in there for a few hours throughout the week, 2-3 hours the whole week, because you got another 10 locations or whatever it is, right? So it's important to be hands-on because your team needs to see you, right? And then it's good for you to keep your connection to them, right? You will still have a say-so almost. And you can pick up patterns of, hey, this guy's being slackened, or the business revenue went down this month. I wonder why. And then you go in and you see what's going on among the team. So you'll be able to pick this up when you're still hands-on, right? You can pick up the problem where you're losing faster if you're hands-on. Now, I used to be a very big micromanager. Very bad, okay? And it's because of my personality, right? I can do it better, right? Or I want it done this way. Or why you're not doing it my way? My way is the best way, right? And so sometimes you have to micromanage. Some people make it seem like it's bad. Sometimes you have to make things work. Sometimes you have to micromanage for a little bit. And the team is going to have to understand and suck it up. Like, hey, I'm micromanaging because guess what? This month, we went down 5% or 10%. So you don't want me to micromanage? Don't go down 5 or 10%. Right? I'm going to have to do something if the numbers are coming down. Right? And so sometimes it's a need for it. But for you to do it all the time, nonstop, consistently, I don't believe you can have a team that will stay long term. Now, you'll get people that will stay a year, 2 years, but long term, to people to like grow up in the company and maybe run their own locations for you, then I don't see it happening because nobody can have somebody on top of them just beating on their head. Like, this is how you do it, 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 nonstop. Like, bro, get off of me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you have to walk the fine line in everything you do.
Awesome. And so you said once you build that person up that can pretty much can fill in your shoes, that's only then can you like step away from the business. Like not be as involved like as you were in the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, once you have somebody on the team, you can start pulling away, right? You can pull away a little bit. I don't suggest pulling away too much early on, especially if you have a new workforce. Like nobody in the family is running the business. New people. Those are the business that you see fail the quickest, right? But if you have somebody that's been in there, a couple of years or so, and they do, if you like the way they do things, they do them as if you're doing them, then that gives you a little bit more to pull away from. Like it took me, 3.5 years, 4 years before I can pull away from the academy. 3.5 years when you came, and I still couldn't pull away right away, but I would leave here and come back, and so you have to have somebody that can truly take care of the business as if it's their baby, and it deep down they are trying to treat it that way. That will give you some freedom, right? But early on, freedom's not going to be there, and if you're looking for it, you're in the wrong field.
Yeah,
not at the beginning.
Crazy. So like you mentioned, when you build people up, that'll create the positive environment, that'll create the growth environment, that'll create the environment of a good working environment, because you know everybody and you're telling them what they're expected and you're motivating them so they don't just feel like, which I feel like I see it because it's like on Reddit, this thing called like, I forgot, people don't want to work, something, whatever. And all they do is sit around and talk bad about where they worked and whatever, right? Like, yep. And then they start like, oh, I'm getting exploited or whatever, right? But nowadays, people easily victimize themselves, right? For some reason. But when you have open communication and you know what to expect from them, and they know like their best interest and you're motivating them, it's hard to like feel victimized because it's communication, So like I noticed that like you're very important on communication. Things don't go like untalked or whatever, right? Things are talked through, so everybody's on the same page and there's like no resentment. So just have communication with your partners. So the next topic that we're talking about is managing finances, right? When it comes to managing finances, and then you go so deep and like, how do you create the cash flow and what things should you look and all these super technical, boring stuff, right? But one of the big things that we're talking about is what are some common like financial pitfalls that you could fall into, right? And traps that sometimes people might get too caught up on it. And it might not benefit the business too much. Like somebody, like you might say, they might get too caught up on the logo and they drop $25K on a logo, right? Like on a sign. Maybe the sign, and the sign isn't really going to play that much into the business, So now that's a big money fall right there. So what are some common like pitfalls that people can fall for, or just mental things that could lead you to overspending on things that really don't need to overspend on?
Well, starting off, like, if we're talking about at a low level, like you don't got deep pockets, what we like to say, right? Some people got deep pockets; they can go above and beyond on their interior, on a shop. They can get brand new tables, they can get brand new chairs, they can get a brand new oven, they can get a brand new counter, brand new register, brand new sign, brand new fridge, whatever it is, brand new everything, right? So some guys have the capability of doing that, right? Some guys don't have the capability. They don't have the budget to do that. So instead of me spending $150,000, for example, on something like that, and I can spend $50,000 to $75,000 on some used, refurbished stuff, and it still look brand new, clean, nice. That's an example. Why not go that route? If you're a new entrepreneur that doesn't have deep pockets, that's one thing you can look for. Most things you can find refurbished, used from a company that's in the same field as yours that shut down. That's the easy one right there. You know what I mean? The other one is, saving, not being cheap, but also being aware of what you're doing in the company. You know what I mean? Are you just having lights on for no reason? Are you spending unnecessarily advertising dollars? You know what I mean? Like, are you spending way above and beyond on advertising and there's no ROI on it? You know what I mean? Or are you spending on Instagram and you're not getting nobody from Instagram?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or you have an ad on Snapchat and this ad on Snapchat's not working. You know what I mean? So you're spending unnecessary things. And then the other one, so it's being aware of where you're spending your finances, right? Having awareness of where the money's going, and is it being used to the fullest extent, to the best of its ability, right? In a business, you need to use the dollar to the best of its ability, right? And then one of the biggest ones, like we know, if you make money, what do you do with that money? Are you always going on a date night? Right? This is what I see a lot of from small business, self-employed guys. It's like there's always a date night. They're always going out to dinners like 3, 4, 5 times a week. Fancy steaks, you know, always going to the movies, always on vacation. There's nothing wrong with that. But like when you would normally go on a vacation, you know, maybe 2 times a year. I don't know what the average is now for the, you know what the average for the household is now?
No, there's probably 2 times a year.
2 times a year? Okay, now that I open my business and there's a little spike, okay, I'm going out 6 times this year. Why?
Yeah.
You just open up a business, bro. Like, it's not going to be like that all the time. You know what I mean? That's just an example. Like, when somebody makes it, they start spending. You know? And talking from a male perspective, right, as a guy entrepreneurs, what you see is they spend if they're not married on unnecessary things. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. They're always going out, BSing, what I like to say, spending money because they saw some success. And these guys end up failing because they're going taking a girl on a date, spending all this money on her, and she ain't even his wife.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So this is things that I see from young entrepreneurs, because from entrepreneurs, there's some status to it. And there's some glam. Like, that's an entrepreneur right there. He's self-employed. Who do you work for? Myself. Got a nice car. You know what I mean? And so there's some glam. So people, young, we're talking about young, sometimes get attracted to this. And so guys get all this attraction. They get this little bit of fame, and people start gravitating to them. You know what I mean? And this is guys and girls, both sides. Not girls are like, well, what about guys? They do the same thing, right? Yeah. But usually guys start flaunting money, nice clothes, nice car, you know, posting about trips, posting about restaurants, and they attract. So they end up spending their money on useless things, wasting their time. So like things like that, you know, you have to be aware of that.
Yeah.
You know? And then on a different level, on a business, even a bigger business perspective, is you need a savings account. You need to have a reserve. If something goes wrong, you have a bad month, finances need to be put to the side. You know? What is that? They want you to save up for 6 months. 6 months of expenses. Some people say that's like the best. Like, you're a high level if you can do that.
Yeah, your emergency fund.
Yeah, emergency fund. So like business, I mean, I don't know if you can get up to 6 months right away. But I mean, you want to build towards something. You know, you want to build toward that.
Yeah. So
finance, knowing where the money's going, where it's coming from, how you're spending it is very important. You have to keep track of it.
Yeah. That's very powerful. One of the biggest things you mentioned is which you mentioned that guys, especially like the man, like they start seeing success, and they're like, "Man, I made it, bro. I'm Andrew Tate, bro. I'm Bill Gates." You know, and then next, you know, they're sitting on the hood of a car, flexing. Next, you know, they're
the money's like this.
Yeah, they got the money. We should call it like the
money fan.
The money fan. So that is a big fall, right? Because obviously people like that's what they want. That's one of the biggest reasons people get into business. They want the glam, right? They want the money, the success. So it's always just easy. You know, they say that like every time people start making more money, it's like they may let an example. Like they make $2 more an hour, and then they start spending $2.50 more.
Yeah.
You know, just because they got the money. Yep. So then they just go ahead and spend it. Mm-hmm. But So that's something I need to think about. That is very true. Not falling for the pitfall, especially men trying to impress either other young men or trying to impress women. You know, that they're not even going to be there, and you're attracting them because of the money. There's not even a good reason to attract people.
Yep.
It's just shallow people. But next thing is just one of the last things I'm going to ask you is scaling the business. All right. So up to this point, you got the business. It's been beautiful. You went through the bumps. There's always bumps. But now your business has been growing. And business is good. You're in the net positive. You got your 6-month emergency fund. You're managing your finances. You got a good team. The marketing is there. The selling is there. You're personable. Your brand is there. What are some signs that a business is ready to scale?
There's a lot of signs, right? First, there's money. I mean, why would you scale a business if there's no money involved? I say that's an easy sign right there. Money's coming in good, right? And do you have a business that can be scalable? What is it? How are you going to scale it? You know what I mean? A coffee shop, you're going to make it like a franchise style. You know, maybe you're going to open 2 more in your city, 3 more in your city. Or you plan on taking it, you know, statewide, regional, national. You know what I mean? So you got to think about all these that go into it. But it starts off with money. If the business is not making money, you ain't finna scale it.
Yeah.
Right? So that's first thing. Now, wouldn't you want to scale? Okay, the business is successful, so you're thinking about scaling. Now, do you have a system? You have to have a system for your business. So when you know something is going wrong, you can look at it and say, okay, this part of the system is not working or it's failing right here. This is where we fix it. So if you can't kind of point like that quick, it's going to be hard to scale something. You want to design like a system for your business. And for the business to succeed, it got to run on this system. Okay? And if it starts failing, okay, where is it failing in the system that I can point out that can fix this? This will make it easier for you to scale because now you can, from afar, you can look at it. Okay, what's going on? What's happening? Okay. Then I think this is part of the system. In step 3 or 4, that this is where a disconnect is happening and this is causing a problem. So if you have a system, it'll be easier to scale because you're not in every business. You're not going to be in every location. So you have to see from afar, figure out what the problem is. So if you have the system, it's easier to see that problem. Okay? And we'll just keep it at 3 so we don't get too wild with it, right? So money, system, and this is what I'm just giving, right? And number 3 is you have to have the team. You have to have a team to scale. Because if you don't have the system and if you don't have the team, you're going to open up a location, it'll see success, you'll end up closing it down. Let me think of a story of a business that's done that. Who can you think of a business that kind of scaled quick and then they start shutting down? Like a new fad kind of thing. I'm trying to think. But on that topic, you know, you have to have a team that can keep up. That's a team that's trained on a system. Maybe that they grew inside the first location. You know, a team member that was in there that knows the system, that knows the environment, that knows everything. And now you can pull them out, put them into another one, you know, and then so forth. They can keep building from that way, you know. But if the money's not there, you can't scale. If the system is not there, it's going to be easier to fail. And if the team is not there, it's harder to win, to keep going. I was trying to make that rhyme. But but if you don't have a team, it's going to be hard to scale. Because you're going to hire random folks. You know, the quality's not going to be there. They're going to destroy the brand and the business is going to end up closing. I'm trying to think of something. I just can't think about it. There's like a business in my head that I can't think of.
Yeah. I can't think of something, but I tried to look up some examples, but I couldn't find any. But like you said, it's very powerful because, like you said, if you have the system, you can just copy and paste
Yeah.
because the system is there. Which I've noticed at your business, you have systems, and the system. Let's say even if some guys, right, it happens a lot in business, they get really good in the business, and they're like, "Screw this guy, I'm gonna do it on my own."
Yeah.
Right? Because obviously the biz owner made it look easy. And they're like, man, and then people start taking too much credit for themselves for the success. Like, I'm going to do this on my own. F this. Right? So if a person like that quits, if you have the system, now you just have to fill in a new slot, train them for a while, and then there you go. Your system isn't going to drown because of that. So having the system that you can rinse and repeat and adjust, that is very powerful. So, do you have the examples?
No, I can't think of an example, man. I really can't. But overall, guys, is you want to be able to replicate what you want, what you have, into another spot. So you have to have the money. You have to have the system that you're running, the process, the layout that you're running, and then you have to have a team member that can do it. I mean, nobody's going to do it like you. Nobody can do it like the owner. Nobody. Right? You have to have somebody that can do it close to the way you do it. If you don't have these three, it's going to be hard to scale. You know? You're going to have at least these three. And then you can get deeper than this. Like, you need a POS system to track everything. You need cameras to track everything. You need an inventory system to track everything. You know? You need payroll system to pay everybody. You know what I mean? You can get deep into keeping track of, adding, you're scaling. You have 5 guys in your first location. Now you have another 5 guys that you got to take care of and coach and track from afar on a whole nother building and 5 people. Now time that by 3. That's 15 people now, 3 buildings, 3 bills, So when it comes to scaling, you got to be making the money. Start to think even about scaling and have a system that you can easily manage. All right. Anything else you want to add?
I was going to say is last thing I want to ask you is how easy will entrepreneurship be and how easy will it be to have your own business and run it? How easy will it be?
Like right now? Just in general?
Just starting off the business. Like,
bro,
you're just getting into business. What can you expect?
Like I said, the biggest tip I would tell myself is it's not going to be easy. It's so much harder than you think. And I'm not telling you this to scare you. I'm not telling you this to tell you not to do it. I like to be transparent. I like to be frank. Okay? That shit is hard. I'm just being honest with you. It is hard, man. It's so freaking hard. I love it though. I'm addicted to it, but it's extremely hard, It's easy to pity pat in it. Let me try it. Let me have a little bit of fun with it. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. For me, there's no plan B. Okay, this is the way I look at it. Me and my whole bloodline is going to have to rely on what I'm finna build for generations to come. I have no plan B. I'm not going to work a 9 to 5. I'm not doing it. Right? So you have to have that. You have to have that grind. Like, do you want it like that? You know what I mean? You don't want it like that, then don't mess with it. Because it's going to eat you up. It's going to chew you up and spit you back out. And you're going to be hurt. You know what I mean? When that happened to me at 18, I was hurt. But when I got hurt, I used that hurt to get back after it. I put my head down. I did not say nothing. I dropped everybody I knew. 18 years old, 19 years old. I dropped every single person I knew. And I knew I had to put my head in the ground and just step forward, one step at a time. I didn't care what anybody said. I don't care what anybody thought about me. You can call me addicted. You can call me upset. Whatever it was. I didn't care. Because I knew I have one chance. I have one thing that I have to do that's going to change my life. because I can't live the same thing over and over again. You know what I mean? So if you're not about that life like that, don't waste your time. Be an entrepreneur. You know, go. You know, build inside of a company instead of building a company. Work within. Right? It hurts me to tell people that, but I want to be honest with you guys, because I don't want you to go in there and kill yourself trying to build a company and for you to quit because you thought it was going to be sunshine and rainbows and you're going to have a Lamborghini in 6 months. Guess what? I've been working for myself since 16. I can say honestly, by myself, 16. I'm 28, about to be 29 next month. So almost 13 years. I don't have a Lamborghini, bro. I don't have a G-Wagon. I don't have a Rolex. I don't have Louis Vuitton, Gucci. I don't have none of that stuff. I'm not on a private jet. I'm not laying on a beach, you know, with my feet kicked up and taking a nice, cute picture with a nice coconut juice, juice in a coconut with the blue waters. I'm not doing that, right? It's not that easy. It's not like I'm going to have that in 6 months. You're going to work year after year, day after day, day and night for 5-10 years, and maybe you still don't make it. It still doesn't work. Then what? Now, some people it works within 6 months. They hit it off. Some people it takes 5 years for them to hit it off, 10 years to hit it off, right? But for me to tell you it's easy, I would be doing you a disservice. I want you to think of the hardest thing that you've done, and this is going to be that 10 times harder than what you've done. To open and run and maintain, keep it, right? Keeping it is the problem. You can open a business. I can help you open a business right now, Gio. Mm-hmm. We'll have it open in 30 days. We'll make it happen. In 30 days, we can have it up and going. People are like, how you make it? I don't give a damn how we'll make it happen. I can tell you right now. You want a business? 30 days, let's do it. After that 30 days, you take it over. Let me see how long you can last. We can open it. But now keeping it is the hard part. Right? So is it easy? No, it's not easy. I get worked up talking about this, but it's not easy. It's going to be hard, bro. It's going to eat you up. You're not going to sleep at night. You're going to be contemplating all day. I'm laying in my bed looking at the wall, ceiling, contemplating. One of my friends, same thing. Telling me the same thing. Like, I can't sleep, bro. Because we're in rough waters right now. Mm-hmm. The economy's not good. They can tell you the economy's good. The economy is crap right now. We are in rough waters right now. So every business owner feels it. Every business owner is stressing. Every business owner doesn't know what's going to happen next. And so when that happens, your mind starts racing. It starts telling you, like, you're going to lose it. You're not going to lose your business. You're not going to make money. You can't pay your bills. You're going to lose your house. You're going to lose the business. Lose the cars. How are you going to feed your kids? How are you going to feed your wife? How are you going to send them to school? How are they going to go on field trips? What about the family vacation next month? What about Christmas gifts? What about birthday gifts? What about food on the table? What about happiness? What about spending time with my kids? When you're a business owner, guess what? You have to maintain a business. So when it's rough waters, all of that goes to shit. Mm-hmm. You know? So when that happens, what do? Because it's going to happen one way or another. In your business journey, that's going to happen. You're going to hit rough waters. You know?
Yeah. Either going to swim or drown.
You're going to swim or drown. You know, and if you can't swim, you better sit there and tread water. Because sometimes all it is treading water. You're not moving. You're just trying to stay above in the same spot. That's all you're trying to do sometimes. And where we are in the economy right now, at this point, that's what a lot of people are trying to do. Is my friend told me, he said, man, right now I'm just trying to stay afloat. That's all my goal is I'm trying to stay afloat. That's the last thing he told me about his business, is I'm trying to stay afloat. So how do you think he feels when he thinks that way or feels that way? When that's his livelihood. That's the livelihood of his wife and his kids. Nobody thinks about that. They only think about one thing, and it pisses me off that they think that because of social media. They think about when you say you're an entrepreneur, you're a businessman, they think Rolex, Lamborghini, nice clothes, the best food, the fanciest restaurants, the 5-star restaurants, 10 vacations a year at this beach, at this resort, at this whatever the hell you want to say. Mm-hmm. It's not like that. So I'm not telling you this to scare you. I actually tell people to push their business, to go for it. But you got to do it in a smart way, and you got to be 10 steps ahead of the game. You got to count your steps. You know what I mean? You got to look at it from 50,000 feet above ground. You got to look from a different point of view of how this is going to operate, and what's going to happen, and what can happen, and how hard it's going to be. When you understand that, then you can go move to next step too.
Powerful.
All right, guys. Anything else you want to add? Nope. All right, we're going to close it out with that, guys. I hope you guys love this 4-part series. Please let me know what you think, guys. We need your feedback. It helps us so much when you give us feedback. If you don't mind, please share this episode. We have it on YouTube. We have it on Spotify. Please follow us on Instagram. Subscribe to our YouTube. You will help us out tremendously. And like always, thank you so much for the support. And remember, guys, you have 2 swords. One is physical, one is mental. You need to sharpen these swords every single day so you can be better for yourself, for your family, for your community, and for your country. So get after it, sharpen your swords, and we'll see you on the next episode of Sharpen Your Sword podcast. Peace out, guys.